Hey guys, Lowell at TechFix here, and I am in the studio today with
Steve Neiffer.
Steve Neiffer, and he and I are going to talk about technicians aging out. We're talking about, I guess you would say the aging of our industry. Some might say the fleecing of our industry in some ways, but we're going to talk today about how are we going to backfill these spots with young technicians who are knowledgeable, who can take over from where we're leaving off. So if you were a young tech, well, let's say we have a younger technician here in the studio today. They're kind of just starting out, maybe 2-3 years in. What advice would you give them?
I would try to find an older technician to learn from as far as the technical side of your world. I would advise them to get as much training because their life is going to be easier if they're smarter at what they're doing. And so in our industry, it's technical. And so by knowing, all the different ways things work as much as you can. Education and again, learning from these old guys that are timing out because they're gold. I mean, they have years and years of figuring out how not to get hurt by stuff and not how things come apart easy and just, how to make money at it. You said money doesn't drive everything, and it doesn't. But money can help you achieve your goals. It's a big part of it, yeah. That's huge because if you want to buy a house, you need to make the money to buy a house. Well, how do you make the money to buy a house? And you got to figure out, well, I got to be better at what I do, and I can make more money, and I can get my dreams, and so.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, and I think there's there's something for younger technicians. I think there's something to add here. That it's not all about the culture or the money. Those things are really important to, incentivize to do what we do. I think for me, the thing that you have to keep in perspective, whether you're young tech and older tech, whatever, is that the job that we do is satisfying. It's rewarding. It can be challenging, but when you fix that car, or you fix a problem nobody else could, or you flag 50 hours, 60 hours this week, like there are things to go home and feel really good about, right? And a lot of jobs don't provide that.
Right.
Like you're sitting at a desk all day, you're making phone calls all day, you're answering emails all day. Those things are great. I'm not trying to disparage that in any way, but getting your hands on something, using your brain to figure it out, and using your hands to fix it, I think there's nothing like that.
And I think that's a different kind of mentality than a lot of people have too. There's people that are fulfilled by that, by seeing something broken and fixing it and making it whole again. I think a lot of people, or some people are, that fulfills them. And then there's some people that aren't, like the people that do the other jobs. We all have different skills.
Sure.
We all have different things to bring to life. And so, but trying to find those young guys that would be satisfied by doing that, I think that's probably part of your interview process and trying to find that. I haven't got it perfected, but.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, case in point, my son-in-law, Taylor, who, really good guy, he's in his late 20s now, and he's thinking, he works as a manager of a company, and he's thinking about, like, he's like, I think I might want to move to Tennessee and get an entry-level job in one of the shops that you work with, he's like, I am feeling that need inside myself to be able to problem solve and create and have that fulfillment every single day. And I think, to me, that's why most technicians do what they do.
Right.
Is they love that feeling of being able to, take that challenge, accept that challenge, and conquer that challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got a good story that kind of goes along with the whole aging thing. So my R&R technician just had total shoulder replacement. So they basically put the ball on his shoulder and a cup on his arm, and so he can't do heavy line anymore, or not until he's healed at least. And so what am I going to do? And so there's not a lot of people out there, not a lot of R&R technicians in our neck of the wood. And so I hired a young guy, and so how I found out about this young guy was we got this vehicle in our shop, and somebody had already started pulling the transmission. And it's like, well, they didn't do a terrible job, but they didn't get it out. So I found out who the kid was that started pulling the transmission. And I actually talked to him, and he said, yeah, I kind of want to get a job. I think he was changing oil at Walmart or something, And so I hired him. I put him underneath my R&R technician that just had the shoulder surgery. So he was his shoulders. And at first, my tech was going, I don't know about this kid. He's pretty green. You know, I said, you were green once too. We were all we never grew up with a wrench in our hand or were born with a wrench in our hand. And so he goes, yeah, but I wasn't that green. I said, maybe when I was 14 or 15. And it was funny because now he's been there about a month, the kid has. And that kid has accelerated, you know, completely off the charts. And Travis likes him and you know, just it's like, wow, that actually worked. And so putting him underneath a senior tech, and so I have seen that work. And
yeah,
I had nothing else. I had not really no other choice, but I had nothing to lose by trying it. So.
And that's something that I think that maybe another conversation is that I think there are a few things that are going to save our industry. And when I say save our industry, like let's get staffed with technicians again, right? So people can get their cars fixed and repaired and on the road. Apprenticeship programs, that's 100%. Yep. We need younger techs working under more experienced techs, period. Because again, technicians aren't going to come to you educated. They're not going to come to you with a skill set. And if they do, you're probably going to use that person as a teacher in some regard. Yep. Because you're going to have to, especially if you're interested in growth in this business, right?
Yep.
Well, I think that's a pretty good place to land, man. I think a couple old guys trying to figure out, you know, ways to backfill this gap. And I think, you know, some good ideas. Like, you know, we got to stay educated as technicians. As owners and managers, we have to be able to invest in our older people, taking care of our more experienced technicians, I should say, taking care of our younger ones to grow them and grow them more quickly. And again, I think it's about being very aware that technicians aren't just looking for money, and they're looking for culture, and they're looking for, you know, like I said, they want to feel good about what they're doing and who they're doing it with. You know?
Yeah, and if they're looking at industries to go into, they can pick whatever they want to be in. Mm-hmm. And so why would they pick automotive? Why would they choose that? It can be hard work. It can be dirty work. Yeah. It can be super fulfilling work. And so by, you know, trying to bringing our industry up in general has been a thing for a long time as far as getting rid of the mechanic, you know, type of image and be more of a technician, more high tech, more, you know, nicer shops, that kind of thing too. I think that all goes along hand in hand with attracting these technicians and bringing them up in our industry. They're not. When I was in high school, there was car stuff everywhere, and there was high school shop programs everywhere, and there was a lot of work being done on bringing technicians into the industry, and there's less of that now. There's less high school shops. A lot of them are closed. You don't see Camaros running around all over the streets. You don't have that exciting part of the hot rod side, so you've kind of lost a little bit of that too. So trying to get them to be interested in the things that we do it takes a special person to want to do that. And so you got to have enough of a package to attract them and enough good things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to make sure you're aware that you're speaking to somebody with mechanic tattooed across their knuckles, right?
Yeah, yes.
All right. Good.
Yes,
just want to know.
Okay.
You know, a little bit of the old, a little bit of new, you know. So, okay, yeah, I think it's a great place to land, Steve. I think, where do we find the crosshairs of the technician or the person who wants to be a technician, and then how do we treat them in our industry? I think it's a huge conversation, man. There's a lot to have there, but I think we're peeling back the layers of the onion. Yep. And I want to thank you for coming in today, and hopefully we get to do this more and more as you come to town more often.
Yeah, a lot of fun. First time I've ever done it. So
awesome. Again, I'm Lowell Green, and this is
Steve Neiffer.
And you fix the cars, you fix the shop.